recording. Now I'm recording. So now we're going to do a Lynn guide. I haven't done one of these. I don't really like doing guides, but I've seen so much misinformation and everyone's rushing to make guides. They don't know how to read. They don't know how to do stuff. And it's really frustrating. So right here, I'm going to give you a guide on Lynn. The biggest thing about Lynn is Lynn's introns make her very important. So these are all free. These are all grindable. If you want to play Lynn, I would recommend doing this. I would recommend any character that you can get the introns. I wouldn't recommend using them without them. Okay, I would recommend unlocking every character, and then after that, just for the damage things. But just focus on one character that you want that you can get the commissions for. It takes about 20 per 30, so about like 100 of runs, and you'll get your character. Actually, we could go over here, and we could go to this, and we could see. Oh, it doesn't show us. We have to go into the thing. But about like 20 runs, will give you a C6, well, Intron 6. Anyway, mainly I would say if you're gonna go like, okay, I'm gonna kind of go for like kind of like a build here, I would recommend just getting C2 on her, because after C2 she feels like a character and she kind of works with how her kit's supposed to work. When you're not doing C2, I mean, you could just do whatever you want. It really doesn't matter because you're not looking for damage anyway, in my opinion, if you're not running C6 on any character in this game. Like, you don't, it doesn't matter about damage. Now, if you're doing damage and like, I can't kill level 70 mobs and I'm level 70, then yeah, that's your problem. But literally, everything that you need to do is right here. You just look on the side. Skill damage, skill duration, skill efficiency, okay? Now, the thing about this character is skill efficiency is a lot less than skill duration, and skill damage is important. And the reason why skill duration is more important than skill efficiency is because your Q is your most important thing, and your second most important thing are these little gun slots right here, this little revolver stuff. When you do this, you get a damage boost, and it scales based off the level. And right here, duration allows that to last longer. So that means you could do this way more. And so it's super duper important. You want to be able to do that. And also it makes your buff last longer so that you can cycle energy more when you have your characters out. And you have your character that has your Serenity rune out. Now the next thing that you're going to want to do. So I would say, like, if you want C2, after C2, she feels like a character. Before C2, I don't know, she doesn't feel like a character, in my opinion. Before and at C6, she's like insane because she actually functions and synergizes well, and she actually does cool stuff. But in my opinion, before C6, don't worry about the demon wedges. Don't worry about the demon wedges and anything, because to be honest, attack speed, trigger probability, and multi-shot only really matter with the C6, in my opinion, because when you do the C6, right? The C6, what is it right here? When triggering bonus effect using Hansel and Gretel, that's your this ability right here, Hansel and Gretel right here, right? Right here, when triggering bonus effect using Hansel and Gretel, inflicts laceration on the target for 8 seconds. And so the big thing about this character, right, when you don't have C6, is you need to do damage and inflict laceration, right? And then right here, right, you don't inflict laceration without the C6. So it's kind of a stupid part of the kit. So when you get C6, you're gonna, before C6, you're essentially gonna just, you're gonna Q, boom, boom. You're, what is it? The enemy's gonna have like a little mark on them, right? Right here. Oh, okay. Right here, they're gonna have this little mark on them right there. And you're just gonna attack while this is up, and then when this resets, you're gonna finish. But you're gonna attack every time that mark resets. You're just gonna press E, and then you're gonna go again. And then you're gonna E when the mark resets, and then go again. And the reason why, sorry, I'm locking in. And the reason why, sorry, okay. I want to show it. That's why I'm stopping here.
How pathetic.
Okay. And the reason why is because of this. With Lynn's passive, whatever you want to call this, passive 1, passive 2, it immediately removes laceration and once it reaches maximum. So you're gonna have to reapply the laceration every time. And so when you're doing the waves, you're gonna be doing this. And so this is why Lynn isn't gonna be doing much damage, and like you're not gonna have to worry because you're gonna want to be proccing this and doing all of that stuff. So like unless I miss something, right? Like, and she automatically procs laceration. If she does, then I mean you still want to build her with trigger. I'd say you probably still want to build your trigger multi-shot the whole time, but from what I've seen, when you don't have C6, it doesn't work that way, right? So, like your damage just goes through the roof whenever you see a proc. And the reason why crit doesn't matter too much is a lot of the damage comes from the laceration, and so what you want is you want the multi-shot and the trigger probability, because when you have 100% trigger probability and multi-shot, instead of trying to worry about crit chance, right, we're critting, we're worried about multi-shotting, right? And then when you have the battle pass dude, the battle pass dude will give you 14% multi-shot, so you basically have 40% multi-shot, and so that means 40% of the time, which is about half, you're gonna be proccing 2 instances of laceration when you're within the supports field. We're gonna get into that in the future when I go past the demon wedges, but that's the big part of the kit. So in my opinion, before your C6, it doesn't really matter what you build. You could build crit damage, you could build whatever, because it doesn't really matter. Like you're not going to be able to like proc those things without using E, so you're going to have to use E, and so you know, it doesn't really matter. You could build however you want with the character. The next thing is, yeah, I went over all the skills. I mean, your Q, you just stand still and shoot. The big thing is just make sure you do your passive. Your passive is on the bottom. You can see it. You can see the timer. Make sure you don't shoot with your gun, because shooting with your gun also triggers the passive. But if you wanted to with this character, if you run out of energy, you could go like a hybrid pistol build and use the other pistols over here. The quick thing that I want to talk about is just go skill damage on the pistols. Don't think about it. It's simple. If you want, you can go skill duration, and after you hit a certain breakpoint of skill duration and skill efficiency, you kind of want a little bit skill efficiency to where this is 7, and once this is 7 on your Q buff, and then you have enough duration, you will get the 7 from the Serenity, and then you'll keep rocking it. Actually, I think you just want the duration. I'm stupid. Because you gain the 3 plus the 7. So yeah, that's my bad. You actually probably don't even want skill efficiency on this character, if I'm being honest, but a little bit doesn't hurt. I think it has really low returns on this skill, but it's nice. It's something I haven't fully tested, but there is like a breakpoint between duration and efficiency that's there. But that's really only if you want infinite like uptime. And if you want infinite uptime, just go skill damage, skill duration, and then just go ham. It doesn't really matter at that point, in my opinion. You don't have to think about it. You've already done all the thinking, I guess. What else is there? Yeah, you could also run this weapon, and then you could run this weapon, so you get the skill duration, and you also get the damage. And this damage also affects your right click, your Q. So you're just gonna Q, and then you're gonna use this pistol. I don't know how it works in the formula. They're both about comparable, but I'm pretty sure 90 weapon damage is probably better than 48 skill damage because it's double. But I think this weapon's just a little bit more versatile, so that's why I upgraded it. A lot of times you're going to be using different characters of different elements, so I think versatility is a little bit more important. But this weapon is probably better because it just synergizes better. But you have to right click before you Q, and so that means every time you right click, you're gonna right click Q and then do that, and then just make sure you redo your buff, and then after you redo your buff, right click Q, and then after you're done, you just go and then you just chill. for a little second, wait for your thing to come up, wait for energy to come up. And that's why I don't think you really care about infinite uptime on Lynn, because you're playing around this passive most of the time anyway. You're playing around these 10 seconds. And so if you're playing around these 10 seconds, you're going to play around them, go ham, and then after you go ham in those 10 seconds, right, you're going to get energy from mob drops anyway and stuff, so it doesn't matter too much. And then you see, like, I only use half my energy, and then by the time this comes up, most of my energy will be back. And if I'm fighting something with mobs, it'll all be back anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Although people care a little bit too much about infinite uptime on her, but I don't know if I went over demon wedges. We're gonna go over demon wedges real quick because I didn't go over them. We're running attack, attack speed, multi-shot, spike attack. Very important, super important, because basically just follow all of these. They're not gonna lead you wrong. If you go crit chance is just gonna give you it's really dumb. It's gonna give you 6%. When it says 50%, it means 50% of this base number here, so it's really bad. So don't go crit chance. Crit chance is really bad. Crit damage is really mid. You'd rather go the attack speed because the attack speed allows you to proc more, and proccing more marks is more consistent and does higher DPS. And Lynn is more about DPS rather than high damage numbers. So you want to make more damage uptime than higher numbers. But if you want higher numbers, you could just instead of the attack speed, you could put on crit damage, and it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. Every once in a while, you hit like 100k. All right. And the most important part about a guide for this game is that teammates. Teammates are super important. Personally, I would run Hellfire and your main character. And the main character is the bread and butter of this character, because this character gives you 100% trigger probability. And you're going to want to max her out with duration, because duration actually gives you the most stats for this character. So I'm going to max her out soon, but she's super duper, and we're also going to get crit chance in the future with her. She's super nice, you know. So she's a super cool, chill character that like helps a lot. Just go duration, get that shield up, the shield up time, so you keep this damage buff up. The shield gives you a damage bonus. Whereas a weapon damage boost, 43% weapon damage boost, and then she gets 8, so that's about 50. So you have 50 damage boost and 100% trigger probability, which will give you 100% on your laceration marks. So that means that you will have 100% mark uptime, and then when you have 100% mark uptime, right, that combined with your 25% multi-shot, that means 25% of the time you're going to be applying 2 marks, and every time you apply 6 marks, your marks will pop, and then you'll do it. So you're going to be applying those marks really fast, proccing them, popping them, and then going. The next character, I think Hellfire. You can go Marge. I was going Marge before, but when I was going Hellfire, I hit 200k, so I'm 99% sure Hellfire is way better. Right here, you're gonna want to go this, because where is it? Somewhere in here. There's damage bonus. Damage boost. She has damage boost. Increases damage dealt to enemies taunted by Hellfire. So right here, whenever she taunts characters, you get 50% damage dealt, damage boost, which is insane. I don't know how this applies in the formula, but I think it applies at the end. It's kind of busted, low-key, because I hit 200k. I don't on a normal stage. And then right here, you get attack, and attack is super nice, so it's super nice. And the thing about Marge,
Who's the target today?
the reason why I don't feel like you want to go Margie
Where are we heading for
is
today's haul?
she works and she's fine, and she's just unconditional attack, so
Where are we heading
she's
for
super
today's
consistent. So if you just want unconditional attack, right, sorry, skills, you can get it right here. She's 40% attack boost and another 45%. She's insane. She's just a lot of attack. It's chill, it's cool. I wish she had defense shred or something, but she doesn't. It sucks. She doesn't, so she's just there for attack, like a free 90 attack or whatever. It helps. But it's not the best, because you want your attack to go into the damage percent, and then it helps a little bit more.
Who's the target
And
today?
also, with your demon wedges, your character demon wedges, like you're gonna get a lot of attack in all of these. Like there's so much attack, and it's so much, like it sucks. So you're gonna keep doing this. The biggest thing I'd say, I don't really think you should worry too much about these demon wedges, honestly. If you go skill efficiency or duration, they about even out. Duration is more like on your weapons. If you want to go infinite, you need to hit like 200 duration or something. And then like 140 skill efficiency, I think, and then you'll be infinite if I remember correctly. The biggest thing that you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to run prime morale. The 18% morale gives you so much damage. So the higher HP spend, the higher damage dealt, and it synergizes with your kit really well. This is the most important thing. Everything else really just, it's kind of chill, because you're gonna run Serenity on your support. So you see my Hellfire, right? I have Serenity on her, and then I just have her built with HP and duration. But with this, right, you get the extra regen, and you don't have to worry about it. And then on your main character, right, you can run the damage dealt one. Okay. It's very important to have these so that you can maximize your damage. If you don't do that, you're not going to maximize your damage. And if you're like, and these don't stack. These little like Hydra looking things, the Typhon's Primes, they don't stack. So you're not going to get a whole bunch of energy. Maybe you will, I don't know. But from what I've seen, they don't really stack. So Hellfire is good. Ideally, I would recommend getting one copy on her, because one copy on her increases the damage dealt, right? This is going to be insane in the future, but for the most part, you're just going to want this, because this will give it the damage, and you want the damage bonus. And then for the main character, we're going to get her maxed out in the future. And so Lynn is a very economical person if you get Hellfire. And is there anything else? We went over that, the skills, attributes. And yeah, I mean, like, that's everything, right? The main way you want to play her, if I didn't explain it, is just you want to go in, right? Go in Q. After you Q, you just go, right? Actually, I'll switch the weapon real quick. Just the Genimon. Right, this Genimon is super important. If you don't have this Genimon, I probably wouldn't recommend going Lynn, because I think the other Genimon is kind of mid. Is it him? He's increased pyro attack for the main and stats provided by demon wedges. I mean, this is alright, but it's like kind of mid, right? And then spawns activated skill duration for. I mean, it's not bad. If you want to, you can run it. It's skill duration. Skill duration helps. So, and then when you upgrade him, he'll pop off. So it's not horrible. It's not the worst. So you'll get more skill duration out of him, but out of this guy, you'll get like 1,000,000 times more damage. So the biggest thing, you want to go up, right? Pop your Q, boom, 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 and then you want to do this until you're out of juice. Ideally, you want to wait for your main character to proc her shield, and then you'll go. And while you're waiting for her, you can just wait for your bullets to recharge. And then when your main character procs her Q, then you go in. So right here, we'll do this guy. And yeah. So we'll go in. We'll wait a second for her to proc it. She'll then proc the shield in a second. Right? Right here. Alright. Okay, well, she's not. But we'll just go in. Okay, and she procced it, and then you see how fast we're proccing these marks. We're proccing the marks so fast they don't even show. And that's exactly how much damage you can do with a lead. There might be something I'm missing out, and there might be a way you can do it, but get infinite value on her. But for the most part, I'd say you just want to be able to do your damage within the duration of the passive. That's what I would say. And then just leave the passive and then come back and rotate. That's the best way to play Lynn. And yeah, see you guys. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.